Welcome back. Randwater is currently briefing the media on the state of a bulk water supply in its areas of operation. Let's now take you live to that briefing.
But what is more important, and this is extremely important when people read some of our reservoirs, when they see percentage being zero, we have to, in terms of statutory inspection and compliance with regards to dam safety regulations, we have to clean our reservoirs. We have to inspect them. So we will be taking some of the reservoirs out, inspect them so that they are maintained. We have, therefore, a capital infrastructure program of about 35 billion in the next 5 years to augment our system. But it is important to indicate the reality of some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing. We're not going to be able to do all this infrastructure development if we're not paid on time. Our debtors days are still a challenge for rainwater. As we speak now, end of September, we had a debtors book of just under 6 billion. And as a result thereof, because of some of the long outstanding debtors days or debt, our net trade receivable from in our balance sheet is going to reduce from about 6 billion to 3 billion. So we are seeing year on year an expected credit loss that is increasing exponentially, a 35% jump from 2022 now in 2023 to 2.15 billion rands. When we close this past financial year, our debtors days were sitting at 109. If you can see the slide that I'm sharing, the debtors days as at 2014, 2015 was sitting at 35 days. So we are paid 109 days after we have supplied water when we close. As at today, our debtors days is sitting at about 85 days. It should be at about 35 days. So we are concerned. Of course, we are expected, correctly so. We have an obligation to supply bulk water, upgrade, refurbish, operate and maintain our infrastructure, but we need to be paid as well. And as I indicated in this presentation, that from our side we are pushing and pumping as much as possible at max of what we can pump. We are adding infrastructure to store, we are adding infrastructure to purify water, and we are really a function, as I indicated early on. We are self-reliant and self-sufficient. We get no assistance from the fiscus, so it is important that we get paid on time to continue to maintain the system. So in terms of our credit management strategy, we classify our debtors. We've got performing, underperforming and non-performing debtors. Firstly, I just want to thank the performing municipalities. We understand all municipalities are going through a difficult time. Our biggest customer, Joburg Water, is paying us on time. We remain eternally grateful. We thank the mayor, the MMCs, finance and water and sanitation infrastructure provision, the MD and the board of Joburg Water for paying us on time. We thank Idval, Metsimaholo, Rustenburg and Tempisilahani for being the best performing municipalities in our value chain. The second category is non-performing municipalities. These are municipalities that have got outstanding debt between 60 and 90. They are paying, but they are not paying on time. The two biggest is Tshwane and Ekurhuleni. These two municipalities are paying, but of course we like to pay. We like to receive money, all of it at the end of the month. We have an outstanding amount of about 690 from the city of Tshwane and 440 from Ekurhuleni. We have received payment this month. We are hopeful that between the 25th and the end of the month, the current accounts will at least been settled. Mogale City and Royal Bafokeng, the next two underperforming municipalities. So I need to indicate that underperforming means they are paying, but they're not paying timelessly within that 35 days. Then we have the last category of municipalities that are non-performing. These are municipalities that are owing us 90 days and beyond. Some of them, we're talking 12 months, Lesedi, Mwate, Victor Khanye, Ren West, Merafong, Governor Mbeki, and Mfuleni. Performing municipalities in total, They have an outstanding debt in our books of about 3.1 billion. With Enfuleni, we have established a special purpose vehicle where we are going to be ring-fencing water and sanitation revenue of the municipalities into a dedicated account of water and sanitation provision. We are going to be working with them, and we're going to be crowdfunding the private sector, including Rainwater's balance sheet, to ensure that we upgrade, we refurbish, and reduce the physical losses of about 61% in that area. So in essence, this is where we are. In terms of other areas that the COO is not going to be covering that I thought I should cover. With your permission, I'm going to ask the COO to take us through the details of where the system is and how is it operating, and just give you a rundown of the discussions that we have with municipalities on a daily basis to work together and ensure equitable water supply in our area of operation. Thank you, COO.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Mahlomola Mehlo. As already introduced by the Chief Executive, I'm the COO. I've got a very small presentation just to go through the details on the operational side, and just to try and unpack, some of the operational myths and narratives that we have been hearing, and also to update the communities out there around our collaborative efforts with the various metros on what we're doing on a daily basis. I'll just, for context, just go through the rainwater systems, and I think the CE has already outlined that we've got a value chain that is really quite integrated, it's intertwined, and as rainwater, our mandate is to provide water in bulk. And what that means is that we do not necessarily have authority whatsoever of reticulating water in municipalities. So the water that we produce primarily comes from two of our primary systems. I'm going to try and use a pointer here. I hope online you can also see my pointer. So I think the previous slides from the CE has already indicated that we've added more water into the system, and we are currently producing around 5,000, just above 5,000, peaking at around 5,200. And our primary systems are Suikerbosch as well as Vereeniging Purification Works. And as you can see, this is quite an integrated system, it's a centralized system. Both of these plants are down in the... Do we have sound issues?
Okay. It's not shared. Is it shared better? Okay.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So the system, in essence, it's quite a centralized system. It's a system that operates as a whole. It's not a system that has got a dedicated aspects of it.
Can we just go back to the start of the presentation because we didn't hear anything?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I've been requested to just run through the first few slides, just to cover the colleagues that missed on the first part. I hope the introduction was clear. My name is Mahlomola Mehlo, COO Rainwater, as already introduced by the Chief Executive. My presentation is just going to talk about the operations, the interventions that we have on a daily basis, especially with the metros. And I think the mandate has already outlined that we are a bulk water services provider, which means we do not reticulate the water. The water that we produce, we actually provide in bulk. And therefore, that is then left to our customers in the municipalities and industries to actually reticulate that water. So just by way of providing context, I'm just going to go into rainwater systems just so that we can orientate each other on the systems, so that when I talk about Klepre-Vuursburg, when I talk about Mapleton, when I talk about Palmit, you know exactly which system I'm talking about and which area does it actually provide. So we've got two primary systems which we draw water from the Vaal Dam. I think the CE showed you a slide on the integrated Vaal River system. That is our source, it's our primary source. It's our feedstock, if you like. We get our water primarily, mainly from Lesotho. We of course do have local dams, so that's where we're drawing from. And we draw from Suikerbosch purification plant is our biggest plant, and Vereeniging, and that's where the purification really happens. That's where the production actually happens. And after we produce that water, we then start to pump it. You will see in the coming slides that we provide water to far-flung areas in Northwest Rustenburg, in Mpumalanga, your Tembisilehani, Govenbeki, and also in Free State. This is now in addition to the core customer base of Gauteng. We cover the entire Gauteng, all the municipalities in Gauteng. And it's extremely important then for us to pump the water so that it can reach those areas. And here what you're seeing is our booster stations. So if you like, we pump from where we actually abstract, we pump where we purify, we pump to boost the water. What we have not shown here is some of our tertiary sites where we do further pumping before the water actually gets to the customer. And I'm emphasizing this issue of pumping because we're going to have to talk about the power issues, the load shedding, the power interruptions that we normally speak about. So, and because this is an integrated system, you cannot necessarily pump from primary only up to booster. The water will still not get to the end consumer. And therefore, it's extremely important that all that pumping happens at primary, at booster, as well as tertiary. And then the water goes into customers. And our customers are mainly municipalities. The CE mentioned the number, it's 18 in total of the municipalities. We also have industries. We also have other sectors, but mainly and primarily we are talking about municipalities. Now, the Suikerbosch system is our biggest system. It's producing around 3,800. Now that we've added more water, 3,900 to 4,000 million liters of water per day, every day, without fail. That's what this system is actually pumping. And that water is further then distributed to those booster sites that I've indicated. Of importance to note is some of these boosters that are fed from the two primary systems. Palmit system is fed from Suikerbosch. It's one system that, obviously, as you can see from the numbers, accounts for the lion's share of the water that we actually pump. And then you also have the Mapleton system, and I'm going to unpack these systems. We've also indicated there in red the energy suppliers. For instance, you will see there we've got for our main sites, Eskom, Palmit also supplied by Eskom.
Well, the CEO there of Rand Water giving an update with regards to the systems and the areas where they are operating, and also the CEO pointing out a bit earlier on that if you look at some of the two big metros in Gauteng, that is Tshwane as well as Ekurhuleni, combined they owe Rand Water 1.1 billion, 690 million. The Tshwane is owing Rand Water as well as Ekurhuleni owing 440 million. We'll give you an update with regards to that presentation a bit later on the SABC News channel.